This is the What Are We Doing? Phillies podcast. Here's your host, Kevin Flannery.
Hello, everybody. It's Thursday when you'll be hearing this episode. You're one day away from a first post-game show. That one will be with the Padres, so it's not really the Phillies. And then you'll have me on Saturday and Sunday, and we'll get back to some daily podcasts. Wanted to just give a little bit of an update of, over the off season. We had the guest series. We have a few more of those to get done. 4 more actually, that I have lined up for that coming soon. In the month of March, those should be done before the regular season starts, and those will be those hour-ish episodes to listen to. As you know, spring training comes along. We'll be doing as many of the televised games as there are, so there will be a podcast after any game that is televised for the Phillies. If the game's on the radio, don't guarantee there's going to be a podcast. I'll try to let people know on the podcast previous and to know if there's going to be one tomorrow. But if there's a game broadcast, especially if it's on NBC Sports Philadelphia, that game will have a podcast following it. Speaking of podcasts, we're working on, as you've heard over this time, coming up with new intros, and I'm working with montages and stuff. So I have an intro and different audios for when Caleb joins me, when my grandfather joins me, when Uncle Johnny X joins me, when I'm by myself, when they win. And World Baseball Classic, we'll get into that. And then spring training. So spring training will have some special audios that we're working on with different quotes. Don't know exactly if I'm going to use the win-loss ones because technically the games don't really matter outcome-wise, but we can follow it if we have nothing else to really do in spring training, because spring training is pretty long. Also, we have the World Baseball Classic starting on March 7th. I'm pretty sure that's the start date for the World Baseball Classic, going to the 17th. Every USA baseball game, there will be a podcast after the USA baseball game in a special edition of the What Are We Doing Phillies postgame show, World Baseball Classic edition. So those will have podcasts, probably me, maybe Caleb will join me on some of them, but every USA World Baseball Classic game, there will be a podcast after. If there's a Phillies game that day, there will just be 2 podcasts because there's a Phillies game and there's that you could differentiate of what you want to listen to depending on what you watched. I think that pretty much covers the kind of changes going into this season. Enjoy the new intros because that's been something I've been working on a lot. And also early in the spring, we'll probably hit the 500th episode of this podcast. Yes, somehow I've done 500 episodes of this because we've been doing this since 2023 through pain and suffering and a lot of pain and suffering and winning baseball team, but pain and suffering. So we'll have some special out on that. I'll alert when that comes up. That'll be more into the middle of as we get started with the spring of the season. So that being said, that's your little brief update on what is new or to come. Let me know feedback in the comments of the podcast or wherever you listen. It's also one last thing I've noticed I forgot to mention is that the podcast is now also on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's been slowly working and I've been getting it pretty close to where they shift over every single episode. So the podcast is on the Flannery Sports Booth YouTube channel. You can also find 2 other podcasts that I have if you like listening to me talk. So you can find a Disney podcast that I have. Me and Day Game Cleveland do a Disney podcast, and then an Exit 333 podcast with 2 of my friends and some teacher guests that we have coming up soon. So go listen to that stuff. That's on the Flannery Sports Booth YouTube channel. I'll put a link for that in the description of this podcast. So if you want to listen on YouTube and that is easier for you, go and do that. So YouTube intros, some new things coming up soon, and we're hopefully ready for a very fun 2026 Phillies season. So with that being said, I will see all of you tomorrow for the Padres-Mariners 3:10 post-game show game. If I have some commentary I have to do after that game, so if I'm not able to get a podcast out right away, there will be something before the end of that night. So Padres-Mariners next podcast, then we'll be doing the game, which is supposed to be on TV, the Blue Jays and the Phillies on Saturday. So daily podcasts starting as of Wednesday, and we're getting back into it. So Phillies baseball starting 2026. Have a good one. I'm Kevin Flannery signing off. Have a good night.